Hey everybody, my name is Paul Esden Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. We're streaming live simultaneously in 3 different places. My YouTube channel, youtube.com/BoyGreen25, my Twitter account @BoyGreen25, and today, because of all our scheduling, on Facebook. Guess what? @BoyGreen25. You guys guessed it. Bonus points. 100 points to Gryffindor in the back. For that juicy bit. Well, every Monday on the show, I'm joined by Jets Insider Will Parkinson. He is the host of the TOJ podcast and joins us every Monday here on the program. Wherever you guys are, feel free to drop into the comments and get involved. It is an interactive show. Without further ado, let's bring in my co-host here every Monday. That is Will Parkinson. What's up, Will?
What's up, man? How you doing on a little rainy Monday? Not great.
Yeah, not. Like, again, I'm wearing the Victory Monday shirt. Shout out to Connor's boys over at Homage. Appreciate those guys for all the support. And they apparently sent this on a good season with 5 uses so far this season at checks, notes 5 and friggin' 2. So there's a lot to be optimistic about, Will. But obviously, I think we got to get right to the news of the day. The Jets get what they call in the business a double ball punch. Earlier today, we get Breece Hall out for the season with the torn ACL. We kind of expected that based on everything we were hearing yesterday. But the surprising news, and this is why we do this press conference after every single Robert Saleh presser on a Monday, is whatever information he provides. And he provided the latest on Elijah Vera-Tucker. Give us the latest on that, Will, and feel free to speak, of course, on the Breece Hall injury as well.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start Breece Hall because it's one of those weird scenarios. I don't know about you, but for me, I was like, oh, he got concussed.
Right.
Looked like he kind of was going to the ground, then kind of went to get up.
It was weird. It's not like a knee buckled or anything, right?
Yeah, you didn't see an obvious, what happened with Zach, where it was like the obvious cutting and whatever. But then all of a sudden, you keep seeing him grab his knee, and I was like, all right, maybe he's concussed, but like it's one of those like it's pretty bad that he's kind of his body tensed up or something. Maybe his leg gave out. I don't know. And then all of a sudden, it's like he's getting help off the field or he can't really put weight on his leg. And I'm like, oh no, this is ugly. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, he said he didn't feel a lot of pain, didn't see, he felt fine, thought it was a minor thing, which is probably what he felt the meniscus at this moment. I assume maybe that was when I tore my meniscus, that was actually one of the more painful parts. Wow. But then, as we know, you see the images of him getting on the cart and you're like, it's bad. And then the Jets immediately rule him out. A bunch of people texted me and were like, oh, is it, bone bruise? I was like, I don't know, man. They don't really rule guys out right away unless usually they can when they can tell something on the sideline, which ACL, Achilles, things of those natures, it's really easy to see. And obviously they ruled him out. So it's a brutal blow. I think, if you want to be an optimist, he is a running back and a running back by committee. And we've seen a lot of other teams make it work around the league, and it's a position that guys don't always play 17 games, and but it hurts. Like he's their most explosive offensive player. He was probably the favorite for rookie of the year. He brought dynamism in the run game, the pass game. He's a super talented guy. Like there's no question. So I don't want to say it's not a big deal. It's obviously a huge deal. But I just felt like, okay, if Breece Hall was the only one you lose for the year, at least you get, Corey, who's been your most stable receiver, Elijah Vera-Tucker. I expected both to miss time. I just didn't expect, the triceps and biceps injury. It was either one of 3 things. I think Caleb Zucker, who actually was a trainer when I was playing in Towson, that follows me on Twitter, commented on it. And it was like, it's one of 3 things. And he was obviously right. He obviously knows what he's talking about. He works in the profession. But he basically was like, he either hyperextended the elbow or he tore a bicep or a tricep. Either one would be awful. Right. And obviously, we found out today, torn triceps. When he said shoulder, when they said shoulder right away, I thought, oh, maybe a shoulder popped out, stinger, something like that. Jogging in the locker room, because you're thinking, I don't know. So just usually when there's certain signs, you could kind of tell. Yesterday was weird; you couldn't really tell. They didn't rule him out right away. There was this whole kind of thing. Obviously, they were waiting for the MRI and things. That one's more brutal to me, and I'm not. It's stupid to play which one's worse. They're both
right.
It's obviously awful.
Both terrible. Yes,
but AVT covers up a lot of holes. If you were getting George Fant back this week or Max Mitchell next week or whatever, hopefully you still are. next week. And, Fant looks like he won't play this week, obviously. But, in the long run, maybe you fix tackle and Herbig's serviceable. But AVT is playing at an all-pro level. He's covered left tackle, right guard. I know he had the pec problem in camp last year as a rookie, but since then, played every game, was durable, was sprinting step for step with Breece Hall, during that long touchdown run. So that one hurts. AVT is also one of the more vocal leaders, it feels like, on the team. He's kind of growing into that kind of superstar offensive lineman that, they're a rare breed in the NFL where they're both the vocal leader. Again, this is I'm not saying he's Jason Kelce, but it felt like he was starting to get that persona where he was like kind of this tone setter. Mm-hmm. Again, luckily these guys will be back. They will, with today's medicine and technology, expect them to be at least AVT and hopefully Breece Hall. Week 1 next year, they're rolling, ready to go. And the Jets are even more talented than they are this year. And, they'll be a playoff team in 2023. That's all great. But the problem is they're 5-2 right now. And you lose the guys who've probably played. I'm not saying they are their 2 best offensive players. You probably can make that argument pretty easily. But they've been the best 2 offensive players so far. So while it's not your quarterback, which I'm sure we'll get to in a moment, this is pretty brutal. Thankfully, they got good news on JFM and Corey Davis. I know that doesn't matter as much to everybody, but yeah, this has been it's been tough, and it's been a weird. Denver's a house of horrors for them every time, and I think they play there next year too. So while they won on Sunday, nothing good ever happens there, and obviously losing AVT and Breece Hall for the year is just a gut punch. We'll see how this team reacts. They've reacted all year positively to these injuries. They're going to have to do it again times 2 on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think you really carried it well there. Again, crippling is the best way to put this, both for Breece Hall, explosive. Again, you think in theory on paper that replacing a running back should be easier, but not quite the same when he's been such the heartbeat, quite frankly, of this Jets offense. We'll see again how they pivot because, again, Elijah Moore, we'll get into that in that update from Robert Saleh and how they're going to potentially alter this offense in some way or another. And quickly on that, I just have to say, for some of the Jet fans, they're kind of going a little crazy, which may be a theme of this show today of Jet fans saying things and there being needing to be a point of clarity. I'll start off on Michael Carter, who is now the obvious next guy up here.
I was just going to say that also plays in it. That was also plays in it, right? You have Michael Carter there, who everyone was like, we don't need a running back. We have Michael Carter. Well, now you get to find out.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's it. It's going to be gut check time. So for all the Jet fans are like, Michael Carter, Breece who? And I'm like, okay, let's write it in. And the other thing for me is they said, Michael Carter, RB1. I'm like, well, we saw that last year, and unfortunately he couldn't stay healthy because I think they gave him too much rock, and I think the Jets learned that and said, okay, if we use him situationally speaking, he's going to be fine. And again, Breece Hall had some great plays in the passing game yesterday, which was nice. Again, speaking of that house of horrors, he dropped that V route last year that could have went for a touchdown, so it's nice for him to kind of get that redemption on the other side. There's like the 35 or 40-yarder. But the point is, I don't think Michael Carter is built enough where he could just be the guy, and you got Ty Johnson, and then you promote Zonovan Bam Knight, who, by the way, Robert Saleh did say he's going to get some ops, naturally speaking, coming up from the practice squad. But that's not enough to me, especially when the Jets commit themselves to ground and pound as their offensive philosophy, that you can't just say, we're good enough. Like the Jets are 5-2. All of a sudden, my tastes have changed. I like the taste of caviar now. I didn't quite at 1-1 or 1-2 or wherever we're at, but now at 5-2, oh my, we need to go out and get somebody. And we'll talk about that. Zach Rosenblatt had a nice piece for The Athletic discussing some options. And after sleeping on it last night, I wrote an article last night for who I would select out of the crop. We'll dive into some of your choices as well. But they have to get somebody. Michael Carter is not enough. Zonovan Bam Knight is a great story, and I want him to get some op as well. But Michael Carter proved last year that he cannot get the rock as the bell cow of this offense. And the Jets don't want to do that anyway, kindly speaking, at least from that standpoint. So they got to go get somebody. And I'll just say it. The top name on my list right freaking now, Will, after looking around the league last night, is Kareem Hunt. I want Kareem Hunt. I want to see what it would cost. He requested a trade back in August. And the interesting scenario is with Cleveland, the reason why he requested a trade, for people wondering, is not just because he wanted to be RB1. He knew Nick Chubb was there, but he's also in the last year of his contract, so he wanted a new deal. Cleveland apparently a little hesitant there. I think with the Jets, he could be the Nick Chubb of this offense where he's RB1, 1A to the 1B of Michael Carter, and then he gets a little bit more rock. He's the guy, explosive, dynamic, and run the ball, can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's the guy to test. And while some Jet fans have aggressively pushed back on getting a rental, because, again, Kareem Hunt is in the last year of his deal, the Jets are 5-2. You need to bring somebody in here. I'm cool getting a rental considering where the Jets are at, and we're pushing our chips in the middle of the table to go do something here. So Kareem Hunt's at the top of my list. Will, what do you think of that? And also, who are the names you're considering here? I know there's some other less sexy options like Tevin Coleman's and things like that, but who do you want? Who do you think is realistic?
Yeah, so it's funny, Salah on Michael K show was just basically like Joe's going to do what Joe does. Basically, like at the end of the day, and I think we talked about this last week maybe it was 2 weeks ago of, hey, what do you expect them to do at the deadline? I said, I don't expect much, but I think you'll see a couple of depth piece moves. I said maybe in the secondary, maybe at D-line, linebacker, and running back, or one of these positions where, you see injuries happen. The Jets, yes, I understand the concept of people going, oh, I don't want to part for a rental. The thinking is now, though, if you get a rental, you can now balance Michael Carter, that rental, Zonovan Knight and Ty Johnson, however you want to use them, because this backfield is always going to be a running back by committee. Breece Hall is just that special that you almost start to give him, true RB1 carries. But the Jets part with a 4th rounder or a 5th rounder. The Jets don't need 9, 10, 12 selections a year anymore. That's not where they're at. They're past that part of the rebuild. Now they're in the part of the Jets they're 5-2. Okay. They're the second best record in the AFC. As young as this team is, there is also a lot of veterans on this team. So why not try to go win? Everything in the NFL other than the Bills and the Chiefs and the Eagles looks very average. So, okay, cool. If you're the Jets, why not go chase that 5 seed? Because you'll probably play Tennessee or Indianapolis in round 1, who are not good. And then all of a sudden, you're you've won a playoff game and made the playoffs. Or why not go chase the 6 seed and you play the Bengals or Ravens, who you lost to this year but probably could beat, and then you're playing the Bills or do you know what I'm saying? There's just I don't get the concept of oh well, the season's over. Well, it's not over. You're 5-2. Everyone has injuries. Yes, it sucks that this has happened, but you look at Antonio Gibson, Jeff Wilson out in San Francisco probably would cost very little, but is obviously familiar with Salah and this the scheme and the coaching staff. Look at Cam Akers. He's obviously out of favor in Los Angeles as a healthy scratch last week. That the Rams need picks because they have literally no picks. The Niners have literally no picks. So the Jets, I don't just a day 3 pick for the Jets at this point. You're much better than you have in the past. So this isn't like a 5th rounder that's really the end of a 4th rounder, or vice, a 2nd that's really a 1, or a 3 that's really a 2. This isn't what this is like. And the Jets have 3 running backs on the entire roster right now. And one of them's a practice squad guy they're elevating, who we all like. We saw some flashes from the preseason. I hope Bam Knight's really good, but the Jets don't really have that between the tackles guy right now. And we saw it yesterday. They needed tough yards, and I love Michael Carter, but you're not pounding Michael Carter on power over and over and over again. That's just not what you're going to do. And they kind of don't have that. Ty Johnson's super fast and Michael Carter's elusive, but they did lose. You need to replace at least one side of it.
Yes, maybe
it's the Kareem Hunt makes sense because he's the power back who can catch the ball in the backfield. So you replace that side of Breece Hall and you give Michael Carter more of the 3rd down back stuff or whatever it is. My point's kind of James Robinson in Jacksonville had a great start to the year, was awesome as a rookie, out of favor with Urban Meyer, out of favor now in Jacksonville. They're not very good. Dearness Johnson, there's no way if you're the Jets, you can't not make a move there. And then offensive line-wise, they're going to have to bring somebody in. I don't know. I know they've brought in some tackles. They're going to need some more guard depth now probably because I'm very curious to see where Max Mitchell's at next week. If he's back, you kind of feel better. Herbig slots in. You're basically just missing AVT on the line. You're kind of almost at full strength again. You feel a little bit better. I'm not sure what's going on with George Fant. It feels like this is I don't know. He's supposed to come off IR. He's not. He's been hurt all year. He was supposed to be healthy in camp. He never really was. There's something off there. So we'll see on that one. But, yeah, they're going to need another body on the offensive line, whether it's a free agent market, practice squad, trade. Last year they brought an LDT at the deadline. They shipped off Daniel Brown. Maybe it's something of that nature where the Jets just, pick up a guy who's a swing guard on, another team, give them some potential, options there. But, yeah, they need to make a move at running back. I like what they have still. I just they're relying so much on the run that regardless if it's bodies or a top tier body, you need something. And I don't think Joe Douglas is going to sit on his hands. He's made a trade at every single deadline so far.
Correct.
Whether it's been selling or buying, they're not going to get a lot for Denzel Mims if they want to trade him at this point. Elijah Moore is not going anywhere. He's literally playing this week. I said on your show last week, and I got crushing on your mentions. Oh, well, Illinois talking about. Well, guess what? Elijah Moore's playing already, so I guess I was right.
Yep,
but
sure was.
But look, we'll see what happens there. But they need all these guys to pick up the slack, and it's going to come back to it. And I know we'll talk about this, but Zach Wilson's got to step up here. And I understand the offensive line wasn't great yesterday. I understand Denver's defense is amazing. Zach has a lot of stuff that's on him, though. Like, there's some times where guys aren't open or he's not getting blocked for it. Those aren't the plays that I don't care. I get it. Like, that's fine. See, he had a play yesterday, and I'm just going to talk. This play's been bothering me for literally 20
hours. Oh, yeah.
now.
Feed it, baby. This is your platform. Yes, let's go. What?
The play that he throws to Tyler Conklin, that it was a completion, it was an RPO. He pump faked twice. He was open the whole time.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was really weird.
Yeah.
He probably made him get 10, 15 less yards. That can't happen. I can take that and the spinning 16 times and self-fumbling, and like they got really lucky on that one. And look,
they got lucky.
It's great that they got shafted on some calls yesterday. They got lucky on others. The officiating was bad overall. I'm not getting into one's a pass interference and not. There's defensive line holding on the Jets twice. Whatever. Zach needs to be good at the little things, and we're 17 starts in now. Those are the things I can't take. Like one spin move, joked, one spin move, a drive. I think it's great he can avoid the rush, but if you're not going to do anything with that, then you got to throw the ball away, tuck it down for 4 or 5 yards. Because when he did it yesterday, that was still positive yards. I'd much rather 2nd and 8 than 2nd and 25 because you take a sack. So again, I understand Denver's amazing defensively. And I get that, like, there was a lot of things that happened yesterday. The Jets winning in that game is something they would not have done the last 10 years. It's awesome to see it. But Zach's got to be better, and he's got probably the best defensive head coach in the last 50 years of NFL football coming in that terrorizes the Jets, and they should still win this game. I don't care what the spread is. Like, right, you're 5-2, you're at home.
Yeah.
But Zach's got to be better under pressure because these numbers are starting to get really, like, I think Michael Nani had tweeted out. I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at it. The numbers are the difference.
No.
Okay, I'll try to find it, but it's something of it's one of those. Let's see. I just pulled it up here. All right. So Zach Wilson under pressure.
Okay.
A clean pocket. Ready for this?
I saw this one. Yeah, this is good. But tell our fans.
53 is 70 when in a clean pocket. 53 is 70, 639 yards, 9 yards an attempt, touchdown, no interceptions, 108 passer rating. So he's basically Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
While being pressured, 5 for 31, 54 yards, 1 yard an attempt, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, 8 sacks, and he has a net of 0 yards.
Brutal.
So if he can just fix some of the little things and the Jets can get serviceable play from right tackle, they'll be fine. He just got to step up. I know that was different stuff, but yes, they need to add at running back. They need a body at guard because, someone could always get hurt at this point. It's the NFL. It sucks, but I don't think the Jets season is over. I just think they're going to have to readjust their plan a little bit here and potentially sacrifice a pick or two on late day 2, early day 3 next year, which will be okay because they have a lot of talent and they're 5-2 competing for a playoff spot.
100%. And I want to make that perfectly clear to everybody. I'm not apologizing for 5-2. Screw Brett Rippon. By the way, Brett Rippon was an upgrade for the Denver Broncos. Why aren't the Jets getting a little more credit for taking out Brett Rippon, who a clear upgrade over old Russell Wilson there. So again, not apologizing for the 5-2. It's spectacular, and they're finding ways to get it done. That's what good teams do. When backup quarterbacks or others are playing, that you got to take advantage of those, and that's exactly what the Jets have done. I understand the Zach Wilson scenario. I've played PlayStation before. My circle button gets jammed, get a couple extra spin moves, a little more than I thought I was going. I'm like, son of a yeah. So we've all been there. I will say overall in general, that is the bummer news as well coming out of the Robert Saleh presser is that George Fant was supposed to come off of IR this week. He will not, according to all things from Robert Saleh. So it'll be Cedric Abui, the big Ced, as Robert Saleh calls him. He will be in at right tackle for the Jets. Again, that is weird because it felt like when George Fant was placed on IR a bunch of weeks ago, it felt like an overprotective measure from the Jets just to make sure he is perfectly okay. And I went, okay, you know what? If you're really going out of your way just to make sure he's out for the 4 weeks and he's coming back, fantastic. He's going to be great. So the fact that he's not quite back yet is extremely concerning as we look forward. Again, he's in the last year of his deal. Perhaps the Jets made the right decision by not extending him in the offseason, considering that questionable history as it pertains to durability. Because I saw some of these in here from RKO jumping in. Yeah, Max Mitchell is projected to come off of IR next week, but I guess we can't just assume these things when these guys are coming off. So questionable there. I'll throw this one out there. I heard Dearness Johnson, a lot of him talk instead of Kareem Hunt for a late 6. He's another guy who could potentially be available. So a day 3 dart throw could be something in the cards. Let's address the Elijah Moore nugget real quick, just because that came up. Robert Saleh made it clear that Elijah Moore rejoined the team today and that the expectation is he will be active on Sunday against New England Patriots. And man, Will, interesting if he would have just been on this trip to Denver with all the injuries that happened, go figure, looked like he could have gotten some reps, perhaps. I don't know.
If he would have played yesterday, he would have had 2 targets. Because he didn't play, obviously, the way the game went, he probably would have had 10.
Right.
Look, the Jets have made it pretty clear. I tweeted it out. I mean, you've talked about it last week. I'm just not sure what else the Jets were supposed to do in this situation. Yeah, I guess you could have, DJ suggested the Jets could have probably, benched him for the first half. I think they want to send a true message, like, we're not dealing with this. You look at all the comments, the Instagram posts, the tweets. I think the locker room sent a pretty clear message. That's a strong locker room, man. CJ Mosley, I don't care if you get, I don't know what the quote was, but it was something of like, Michael Carter knows whether he gets 1 touch or 10 touches or 30, like he's going to be there showing up, and like that's Elijah's boy. So it's great he's back. Saleh not speaking to him, I don't buy that, but
that sounded like garbage just to kick the can down the road, right?
Right. Let's be real here, okay?
Come on.
His problem wasn't with Robert Saleh. I think is pretty clearly evident, but that doesn't Robert Saleh's that coach. He's the CEO, quote unquote, of the organization, and I think he's spoken to Elijah Moore.
Yes.
Elijah's situation is going to be come and produce. And look, in the offseason, if Elijah Moore says, I still hate it here, I don't want to be here, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm sure they could address it. But for right now, he's not going anywhere. The Jets aren't going to get the value they would want in a trade. Elijah Moore is going to get shipped to some team where he's not going to it's not going to happen. So they need him badly. They need production out of him. They need Garrett Wilson to keep doing what he's doing and honestly take another step up. He's got to be, and a lot of this is, again, play calling and it's Zach and it's all those things, but they need that receiver room. Braxton Berrios continue to step up. They need Denzel Mims for whatever it's worth to even give little reps like he was. Not the drop, and that wasn't a late hit, by the way. Okay. That was insane.
Some of the calls.
That was insane. But catch the ball, and that doesn't happen. But the block he had on Breece Hall's touchdown is fantastic. You like to see it. The attitude here from Denzel Mims. All these things, like Denzel Mims is a good kid. I don't think he, it's like a bad kid. I just don't know that he's as good as fans wanted him to be. But look, they got to get production from their receiver room, and Elijah Moore plays a huge part. Last year in the New England game, he scored his first touchdown, and the one they got blown out on, the first one where Zach was struggling, he had the one really nice play in the first half that he beats man coverage really well, and they need that because the Patriots are going to play a lot of man. They're going to sit there, and they're going to blitz Zach. Garrett Wilson has a top 5 open score according to ESPN. Like, all these things are important. He's got to come ready to play. If I'm him, I want to ball out and play as well as I possibly can. So if I want to get traded in the offseason, someone's going to move a 1 for me. And if not, if I love it here still, I'm the number 1 guy. Like, that should be the motivation if, the Jets keep winning. I think Tom Pelissero, Mike Garafolo had the nugget this morning. He was a red chip guy in their class.
Yes, I saw that.
He's the highest character of, anyone they evaluated. That's why I compare the Jets. That's why you're this is probably just an immature moment. I think with the Breece Hall injury, people are going to be much more inclined to welcome Elijah Moore back with open arms, knowing they don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
But again, we'll see what happens with Elijah and how he plays. But they need him this week, and they're going to need him the rest of the year, and to help out Zach, and vice versa, because they lost their best offensive weapon, and he's supposed to be one of their other best ones. So again, I keep seeing I was looking at the comments, and I saw this today. Getting 1 or 2 snaps of Elijah Moore at running back. Okay, I'm in for.
Yes.
I wouldn't. If you guys watched the Denver game last year when he got concussed, they tried that and he got annihilated and was concussed and missed the game. So 1 or 2 snaps, trick plays, similar to how Braxton Berrios runs a very smart fashion. If you watch the way he
Right.
runs some of this stuff, Elijah Moore can do the same. But one or two runs from each of those guys, yes, you can help balance the workload. But he's not going to be lining up in the Debo role. Debo is built like a truck. Elijah Moore is built more like a Prius, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I have to, not to call anybody out, but I saw it was the Jet Press who tweeted it out. I just have to say this for people who are unaware, because I know a lot of people don't know sizes, right? They don't pay attention to that. Debo Samuel has 40 pounds. I'm not kidding. 40 on Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore soaking wet is 179 pounds. And I get that he did some cute stuff in college where he's in the backfield. Again, I think ultimately to be polite, it's inconsequential. We're talking about one or two jet sweeps a game. That's cool for Elijah if he just wants more touches and maybe that quells some weird Elijah Moore puts the me and team, thing. Like, cool, Elijah. But the overall stuff, he's going to get annihilated. And as you mentioned, I remember that. The Broncos jet sweep, he gets freaking crushed, concussed, and he's out. And also a guy that, checks notes, has injury history, missed 6 games last year. All of a sudden, I'm going to start giving him the rock. Again, it's inconsequential in the larger conversation of ground and pound. The Jets need to do something at running back. The Elijah Moore thing is just like a kind of again, with all due respect, it's like a gimmicky conversation for him. It has nothing to do with the run game. I'm glad you brought that up, Will, because again, I've seen a lot of that and just want to make that clear again. Elijah Moore, 179 pounds. The latest I saw Debo Samuel jump on the scale was 221. That's a 40-pound difference. So let's keep that in mind. I will throw this one up, a YouTube Super Chat. Again, that's available to anyone on YouTube. If you'd like to throw a tip in our tin can, feel free to do so. It'll guarantee that your comment gets answered. Chris K. the Fifth, a loyal supporter of the show. They trading a 6 for 100 RB2 is fair, especially if we're really talking about playoffs. Chris, politely, I think it's going to cost a little bit richer than that. I put a conditional 5th in there. If he balls out or re-signs with the Jets, it could go up to a 4th. That's kind of my thing. Maybe it's even a little richer than that. But again, he's on the last year of his deal. His contract's prorated. He's got a lot of the roster bonuses already paid out from the beginning of the year in a per-game roster bonus, which is $1.4 million on top of the $1.5 he got at the front. So we're talking about like $3 million and change for Kareem Hunt. So that I would be really interested in. And I do want to throw this out there. Hawk throwing this in on YouTube as well. The season is not over, Jet fans. Please, let's rein it in. They're 5-2. Now, again, these losses are huge. They're massive. I'm not sugarcoating it. They are big-time losses. But, guys, the Jets can figure this out. They have a passing game that hasn't been unlocked yet. You can use that to your advantage. And I think a silver lining to the Elijah Vera-Tucker injury is because of all the musical chairs, we've already seen Nate Herbig play right guard and be solid. So you know what you have at right guard. Now you got to figure out right tackle. But with all the offensive tackle depth, the Jets have kind of stumbled into this season with Max Mitchell, George Fant eventually returning to the fold. I think the offensive line has a chance to be average. And to be honest, that should be like unbelievable considering all the injuries this year. So I would lean towards the glass half full. I'll be here all week. Thank you, everybody. But, the glass half full here is I don't think it's all doom and gloom. And we got the friggin' New England Patriots coming in, who, by the way, have kicked the Jets' ass, okay? Winners of 12 in a row, 20 of the last 22, and those 2 Jet wins that the Jets had both came in overtime. They haven't beat them in 60 minutes of play since a playoff game. I mean, these are brutal numbers. I really wish I didn't know off the top of my head, people. And the Patriots ran it up on the Jets last year. There is not a game I want more than this New England Patriots one. And at a minimum, Will, I'm going to be honest, I know that history I just said. The Jets got a split here against New England. If not sweep would be great. But at a minimum, you've got to split, especially considering you face them twice in the next month, considering the bye week as well. The Jets got to find a way to get this.
If they, this is probably the biggest game on their schedule. I would say it's the biggest game of their season. I would say it's one of the 3 biggest games that's been played at MetLife from a Jets capacity since it opened.
Wow.
Because other than that, like, okay, I guess, sure, you want to say anytime during 2010, let's wipe. Sorry. So since 2010, because we're not going to count 2010. They were obviously very good. 2011, you think of the Giants game that wasn't a Jets home game and the Jets literally season collapse. Not going to go there. Maybe that's, whatever. Like that season was like, you thought the Jets were good. So all the games were kind of important, but you thought they were going to make the playoffs. You think of 2015 Patriots game, week 16.
Yep.
You think of, 2019 opener against the Bills where you thought they had all those free agency signings. Sam in year 2. You're like, okay, this is a huge game, division opponent, Josh Allen versus Sam. Sure. You think of any game this year? The Miami game, probably.
Yeah, that was a big one for
That was
sure.
a big one, but
Mhm.
this is even bigger because this is getting now like the stakes get higher and higher.
Right.
This feels like a must-win game in a sense of, again, the Brickshaw Ferguson retirement, the new black helmets coming off 4 in a row. The Patriots coming in, they were throwing the ball at 40 points last year in New England.
Oh, I
In the
remember.
NFL.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard to blame New England because this is what Bill Belichick is. It's what they're about. And he's never going to take it easy on the Jets. He's run the score up on the Jets so many times. They have zero respect for the Jets. They have zero respect for Saleh, Zach, all these. Like, they don't, because you wouldn't do that if you did. The Jets need to send a message here. You saw, I tweeted this morning, and then Will Parks tweeted it pretty at some point. He was like, we remember. And he was like, I wasn't even on the team and everyone knows it. So they fed off bulletin board material all year. They fed off of the Let's Ride. We haven't scored in Denver in 2 appearances. They fed off the all the things today were Let's Ride, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They fed off of the Miami stuff with Tyreek, who with the Jets. They fed off of the Green Bay stuff where they didn't respect them. They didn't take their bye. Like, I expect them to do the same thing this week. And again, this is a Patriots team that's good. Mm-hmm. They're not more talented than the Jets.
Definitely not.
But they're still the Patriots. They're playing at a really high level. The defense plays well. They run the ball well. The Jets are going to have to stop the run, and the Jets are going to have to find a way to score some points, create a turnover. The defense has been fantastic. They're a top 10 defense of every single metric you look at, DVOA, PFF, yardage, all that stuff. Like, the Jets defense going to have to show up, and they're at home. As you mentioned, they could, if they split, they split. 2-4 in the division, likely, or 3-3 it's not bad. I probably see them losing to Buffalo twice. I think Miami it's a crapshoot in Week 18.
Correct.
But then you got to get at least one, if not two. Obviously, you feel much better with Breece Hall and Elijah Vera Tucker, but still the NFL. The Patriots have their own injuries. The Patriots have been winning games without Mac Jones, who's their starting quarterback.
Right.
Whatever you think of Mac or Bailey Zappi, they've been doing it. Again, regardless of the opponent, the Jets have the softer part of their schedule in the second half. Can you find a way to get 2-2? Of these next 4, can you find a way to split these next 2? If you can do that, you're going to the bye at 6-3. You feel really good where you're at. You get everyone healthy, healed up for a stretch run, and try to make the playoffs. You cannot lose both games to New England. That is it cannot happen anymore. You mentioned it. The last time they won in New England was what? The playoff game in 2010. I think it is.
Yeah,
right?
In New England, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the 2 that they've. So again, the
Week
Patriots
16.
have won 12 in a row. Where that's right, and that one was at MetLife. So you have the Patriots have won 12 in a row, 20 of the last 22, and I'm pretty sure the 2 that they won, one of them was obviously Week 16.
One of them with the weird? Was the Week 16 one the weird coin toss? It was, right?
Yes, that's right. The weird coin toss where the Patriots play defense, and Ryan Fitzpatrick went, "Okay, we'll take the ball then," and then the Patriots thought that they could both, if they picked which side that they picked the win from, they could also decide. They thought there was a loophole in the rules, and there wasn't, and the Jets still got the ball. Yes, that was part of the overtime, correct. Yeah,
but again, regardless, look, end of the day, got to get a W on Sunday.
100%.
Again, similar to what I said on before the Denver game. Doesn't matter how ugly it is. Doesn't matter how pretty it is.
Yeah, look,
it'd be great if Zach Wilson went out there and had 275 yards and 2 touchdowns. Honestly, I don't even care that if he threw a pick, if he was going to put up those type of stats. Like, I'd like to see. I just want to see them respond. The defense continue to do what they're doing. I'd like to see the offense continue to get creative. Michael Flores had some really nice moments and gotten creative. Other times, I think that I said it yesterday at the beginning of the game. I got why they were doing it, but I wish they almost didn't. They tried to get Zach in rhythm early, but it was 3 seconds.
Oh, yes, right.
And it was
over.
Too
cute, too smart, too over.
It was over. But
yeah,
on Sunday, let's see what they do. Zach looked a little bit better against New England the second time he faced them last year. Obviously, they were a house of horrors for him. Week 2 last year. That cannot happen. If he's not great, that's fine. He cannot be 4 interceptions and the whole thing. So, yeah, they got to win on Sunday. I think getting to 6-2 is paramount.
All right, let's have this conversation. Again, we're with Will Parkinson. Of course, you can follow him on Twitter. I can't even keep up. I was trying to help this brother get 10,000. He was already at 11,000. So
I don't know what's going on.
join the mob. Apparently, joining the show is obviously the problem. I mean, that's obviously the secret recipe to all the success. At WillPot11 on Twitter. Again, hop on before it's too late, before it just gets too many, and then you're going to have to start doing the super follow all the kids are doing these days. So WillPot11 on Twitter, of course. And again, like the video, hit subscribe if you haven't already. I see Hawk here for a flying hoot. Give it a gosh darn like, people. Okay, we're throwing a lot of chutzpah around here. Give us a gosh darn like, for Pete's sake. We're begging for likes here on the show. But I do want to talk about this, since it was a big point of contention on the show last night, because we do the 2-hour post-game show, 2 hours after the game, do the post-game show on Zach Wilson. In the middle of the game, I just realized that there was a lot of Zach Wilson hate. Now, criticism, there was that too, but for good reason, because he wasn't playing very well. But the hate is where I said, okay, enough is enough, people. And I had to tweet something out, apparently going viral a little bit. I just feel like the people that said Zach Wilson looks like a high school quarterback, middle school quarterback, look garbage, can't, scared, not doing all these things. I look at that Broncos defense and it shut down the likes of Justin Herbert and all these other cats this year. And it's like everyone headed into the week, oh, you know what? Again, it's going to be tough against that Broncos defense. And like everyone forgot that once we got into the game. Wow, Zach Wilson looks incompetent in this game. Obviously has to play better, but I think a lot of the criticism has been bonkers. Guess what? 3 straight games without a turnover. I'll sign up for that. And by the way, that's 13 straight quarters when you throw in the Pittsburgh game, which again, people forget about that one. That Pittsburgh fourth quarter put the team on his back to win the game. Without Zach Wilson, you don't win that game. And the people calling for Joe Flacco, people, what the hell? Is it just grass is always greener? What are we talking about here? If Joe Flacco was in there and you talk about all those Zach Wilson magician Houdini plays where you avoid sacks, like what the hell would Joe Flacco have done? Nothing, because he's a freaking statue. Mobility of a parked car, selling the sponsorship of molasses because he's so gosh darn slow. Like, the people calling for all this other crap are crazy. Again, Zach Wilson needs to play better, but there hasn't been a game outside of Pittsburgh fourth quarter that he's played in this season where they've needed him. Hey, Zach, go put the team on your back. We haven't seen that besides the fourth quarter yet, so I can't judge. Maybe New England is where it's at. Bill Belichick stops the run game, and the only way the Jets can win, maybe this happens, is him passing the football. Then let's judge. Let's roll up the ball. Let's talk shop. But to me, I thought that the criticism got a little personal yesterday on Jet social media, and I thought it was a little wild. Personally, Will, he obviously has to play better, but that was kind of my take on all of it.
Yeah, so the Zach discourse is just tough because if you're too hard on him, you're a hater and whatever, and people get very upset. Mm-hmm. And I understand it. Like, no one wants to hear more, you know, a lot of stuff's good happening for the Jets. No one wants to hear negativity.
Right.
Or if you're complimentary of Zach, that you're being biased. I think the Pittsburgh game, he was okay, then was very bad, then was awesome. I think the Miami game, he was mostly solid. I think he was good. You know, there's nothing to really complain about. 14 to 21, right. 210 yards. Like, wasn't anything special, but was fine. He could have had 2 touchdowns if Breece Hall finishes those runs.
Yeah.
Green Bay game was a bit concerning because he was, again, good defense. Other than that one drive or 2 drives, though, wasn't great. It was just more of like the stuff in the pocket, just try to do too much. But you chalk it up to tough environment. Again, this week, really tough environment, really good defense. Weapons all over the place, collapsing. Again, that said, it's the stuff in the pocket where he tries to do too much. It's the 16 different spin moves. It's shoveling the ball to try to throw it away all the time, but doing it the last second where it's like you're barely not fumbling it. It's some of the easy completions he's either missing or, you know, that's the stuff where I think if you're the one to Uzama, even the one to Mims, like those got to be completions. And Zach's better than that. The problem is it's not going to get any easier the next 2 weeks with New England and Buffalo. That said, you're at home. You know, you should be a little bit healthier in terms of, you know, Elijah coming back, Corey Davis, hopefully if he doesn't play this week, will be back next week. I'm not sure. I mean, look, they could hold him out till the bye. You never know. But yeah, Zach needs to be more consistent, do little things correctly, and he needs to kind of take full command of this offense. I don't think they trust him a lot right now, just based on some of the throws. It's a lot of shorter stuff, trying to get easy completions. He's not turning the ball over. That's obviously great. He's not losing them football games, but you obviously want to see him take the next step and, you know, really start to, you know, be a big reason why they win, similar to what they did in the fourth quarter, where it doesn't have to be deep shots and all this crazy stuff, but it also doesn't, it also wouldn't be the worst thing for him to hit a couple of 15-yard, crossing routes and things where he was hitting in Pittsburgh and even Miami. I know that was part of the game plan the last 2 weeks again, but hopefully this week you kind of see at least somewhat more similar to Miami. I think that would be ideal if Zach goes out there and the Jets win because the defense is really good. They create a couple turnovers, they run the ball decently, and he goes, 16 to 25 for 220 and maybe a touchdown. That'd be great. Continue to protect the football, but the pocket awareness and the footwork is the stuff that I'm just like, clean this back up. We're getting a little sloppy here. And the game looks like it's just moving a little fast right now for Zach.
Yeah, we'll see if he can kind of overcome some of that. Jin Pak, by the way, New England plays tonight. They've got the Chicago Bears, who are once again in prime time. Thank you, schedule makers, for that. But who will play tonight? The last time I checked, I was just watching ESPN about an hour or two ago before the Saleh presser, and still we didn't know whether it was going to be Mac Jones, and if he came back, it'd be from the high ankle sprain. Already missed 3 games. Tonight, if he missed, would be 4. And they have Bailey Zappi. Again, Jet fans, feel free to get a watch tonight ahead of their matchup. 2 straight weeks, the Jets will get an opponent coming off of short rest after back-to-back weeks of those teams getting extra rest here. But either way, no matter what you slice, if you get Bailey Zappi, some no-name 4th-round rookie, or Mac Jones, who would either be coming off of his injury / coming off his very first game, the Jets defense once again has to dominate. The corners have been friggin' fantastic. I think Connor Rogers said it on the PFF NFL Stock Exchange podcast. The Jets quietly have the best cornerback tandem in all football, with DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner have been playing elite. I would love to see the Quinnen break back out game and really the defensive line in general get after it, because this is a game that should dominate, and that should potentially put the Jets in some good position. So we will see. Do you have a preference, Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi, you want to see on Sunday there, Will?
You still want to face the rookie.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
I think you'll see Mac, to be honest with you. But either way, I think the Jets defense should be fine. If they stop the run, they'll be all right. Similar to what they did against Denver, similar against Green Bay. I don't think you're really scared of either quarterback beating you, especially with the way the secondary's been playing. The front 4 didn't have its best game on Sunday, but they still got pressure when they needed to. They forced, obviously the Mosley interception somehow got called back, but
come on,
but look, they still forced multiple turnovers.
True.
I think they Quentin Williams murdered Brett Rippon on the one that got intercepted by Joyner. So you trust your defense. I think right now it's, can you get the offense to play at a league average level? And I think you should feel really good about where you're at, regardless of the injuries, as much as they do suck, obviously.
By the way, this is apparently a dad take, as I got flack on Twitter yesterday for this. Jets 1 o'clock game is the elite kickoff time, people. And I know we had the 4 o'clock game with the Broncos. I'm looking at the schedule in front of me. We are back to 1 o'clock for New England. We actually have 1 o'clock games for the next bunch of games. Patriots, Bills, Patriots, Bears, Vikings, Bills, Lions. Then the Jaguars is Thursday Night Football. And the next week, Seattle is 4:05. That Week 18 Dolphins game is TBD. So maybe that could be your juicy primetime game some of you guys are looking for. But 1 o'clock is the elite time. Chris K. the Fit jumping in. Keep the main thing. Smash the Patriots, please. For the love of everything that's holy, I would sacrifice other games to beat the New England Patriots. And, man, I don't know if we're getting froggy here, Will, but so the Jets are 5-2 right now. They have both New England matchups. Obviously, they have the 2 matchups against the Bills, and then the other one against the Dolphins. And then we have all those matchups we talked about since I have the schedule in front of me. Again, you have Bears, Lions, Jaguars, Seahawks. That's 4. You're 5-2 now. If you got those 4, you're 9, and we're not even considering Patriot games. Will, do you have an updated prediction here now that the Jets are 5-2? And by the way, since 1990, teams that start 5-2 have a 76% chance of making the playoffs. So any updated record prediction here?
Before the AVT and Breece Hall thing, I would have said like they legitimately probably could win 11 games just based on the schedule. I'm going to go 10. Again, maybe I'll have to change it after this week if they look just awful without AVT and Breece Hall.
Yeah.
Zach looks really bad, but I'm going to stick with 10 right now. I think they make the playoffs. I think they set themselves up that they can, be a tough out in a playoff game and maybe they win one. And they're looking at 2023 where they're getting some of their horses back. They're in year 3 of kind of this regime, and they're coming off a 10-win season, trying to take that next step into being like legitimately a 11, 12-win team that's really good. But right now, I think I'm at 10. I was kind of debating between 9 and 10. I'll go 10 just optimistically, and I think they beat the Pats this weekend. And then, got to steal a couple games between, again, Jaguars, Bears, Seattle,
Lions,
There's
yeah, yeah,
Lions. There's some teams. I know Seattle's playing well, but
correct, right,
Miami, New England, even Minnesota doesn't really scare you, I guess, at 5-1 somehow.
yeah, right, yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely some winnable games out there, and like the Jets have beaten a lot of either teams that are good or played in hard environments. They've a lot, they've already played 4 road games, right? So, got another 5 at home, 3 on the road, or 4 on the road. Maybe 5 on the road, 5 on the road, 4 at home, 5 at home, whatever. Another 10 to go, and I like where they're at right now. Though they're 5-2, and regardless of the injuries, you have to feel pretty good about a conference that feels like everyone's 3-4 or 4-3.
Yeah, 5 left on the road. You have at New England, at Minnesota, out at Buffalo, at Seattle, at Miami, which should be certainly juicy. Let's throw another name on here. Just a quick thought on this here, Will. Rams Showcase, Rams YouTube show, if you guys would like to check that out. You want Cam Akers to replace Breece Hall. I know I tweeted that out immediately yesterday. That got a lot of traction. Again, after further thought, I have gone Kareem Hunt. I have a full article on that on the Heavy on Jets page. Have any interest in the Cam Akers situation? It's weird. We covered him in ACC country when he was at Florida State, a very talented player. There's just a weird vibe around the whole thing. Like the Rams won the Super Bowl and they had this guy, and yet they want to get rid of him. So something seems weird there. Do you have any interest in Cam Akers?
Yeah, I mean, look, I was looking through some of the Rams things, what they were kind of thinking. I think Rams fans would be happy with a 4 or 5 for Cam Akers at this point. The Rams obviously have
maybe even less. I'm saying, right, please take him. Rams Showcase. Yeah. There you go.
Look, he's a healthy scratch. He's obviously a talented guy. Came back from the Achilles, but hasn't looked really explosive initially, and then obviously has not been not quite as good so far. I don't see a problem with trading for a guy like Cam Akers. I think it's a low risk, high reward. Obviously, look, if it doesn't work out, he's, a player that's 23 years old, and it was a second-round pick. You'd have him for another year or two, as your third back. Like, it's not as if he's expensive. But again, Kareem Hunt makes a lot of sense. Obviously, some of the off-the-field stuff is less than pleasant, but at the same time, I guess if you look at it, the Jets were in on Tyreek Hill, and he obviously has very well-known stuff in his past. So,
right.
But, Hunt, you look at James Robinson, other guys, there's a lot of names out there. There's some guys that are rentals. There's some guys that are a little bit younger. It's not going to cost you a 1 or 2, even a 3. So I'm not really worried about the draft capital cost. They're just going to be, do the Jets want to go get one other guy and, see if they can, roll through this thing with Carter, whoever that is, Knight and Johnson.
Also, I just need to address this for all the Jet fans who are saying this, but excuse me, what are you going to be doing when Breece Hall, Michael Carter, and everybody's back? If you go trade for a running back, figure that out next year, suckers. For God's sake, they're 5-2. I have not seen a more depressed 5-2 fan base in my life. Just whine, complain. I mean, people, I know you're not used to the success, one winning season the last 11 years, but go take a smoke break. Take a lap around the neighborhood. Smell the gosh darn roses. I mean, for Pete's sake. I mean, I didn't know. I get it. Talking people off the ledge the last couple of years, right? They're 2-14. Like, come on, guys. Let's do something. They're 5-2. I mean, how much more motivation do you need for the love of everything that's holy? So I don't know. Figure it out. Like we have too many offensive tackles. Figure it out. Worry about that later, people. Give me a gosh darn running back that can help. All you people saying, maybe I'd go after Tevin Coleman. Like, Tevin Coleman's fine. He's not someone I would bring home to my mother. It's not something I'd be very proud of. I mean, I would do it, I guess, but I'm like, yeah, here's Tevin Coleman. I don't feel great about her, but like, come on, man. Like,
I just don't get that kind of mindset of like, we don't need anyone. Sure. I'm not going to do the 5-2 season's over thing.
Right.
I just, the trade deadline hasn't passed. It's not as if like the Jets are 3-4. They're hanging on by a thread. They've been pretty dominant the last 3-4 weeks. Yeah. It's not as if they're cakewalking. I mean, it's not as if they're coming back. If this was a bunch of Cleveland victories where last second pulling rabbit out of the hat, some lucky stuff, yeah, I'd understand. Hey, let's kind of eat this one. Maybe trade for maybe sign a Tevin Coleman. I don't know, man. You're 5-2. You won in Green Bay, you won in Pittsburgh, you won in Denver, you won in Cleveland as well. Obviously, you just beat Miami. Like, let's see what we can do against New England and Buffalo. And
100%.
Can you get yourself to 6-3 at the bye, add 1 or 2 reinforcements, and try to finish 4-5 or 5-4 throughout the rest of the year, and see how it goes.
Yeah, and again, have some higher standards, people. Now, the running back, I think we've discussed a lot of names. I think offensive line, I mean, I'm going to be frank, I don't think there's a lot you can do. No one's just giving away really good offensive linemen. Again, the offensive tackle situation should figure itself out down the line. A name I threw out there that I think Bleacher Report was the first one threw out there is Quentin Spain. He's a veteran guard that, again, I think interior is more so where you need help because Fant, again, outside of something crazier, and there's a lot of weird vibes around that, but he should be back. Max Mitchell should be back, and and Mike Remmers is on the team, so you actually have some solid depth at offensive tackle. Guard is the place where I just want to keep Dan Feeney away from the starting lineup as far as possible. Keep chugging beers, man, over there, but as it pertains to the starting lineup, not quite sure there. So that may be a position where, again, that's just something that I think they may want to kick the tires. Again, another thing potentially, if they don't want to give up draft picks, maybe those player-for-player swaps. Denzel Mims, maybe you could flip him straight up for an underachieving running back. Cam Akers, maybe. I don't know if they need receiver help. Van Jefferson just came off, but whoever it is, it's just an example. If you could flip somebody like that, or apparently Breece Hall is in the news for wanting a trade and all these other things, like maybe those are the kind of guys maybe you could flip if you could find it. But also, I don't think you should be afraid to flip a day 3 pick to get this team and to do what is necessary. I think that's important. Let's get some final thoughts here, Will, as we kind of sign off here. It's New England Patriots week. This is a big week. This is a series, quite frankly, that hasn't been much of a rivalry lately. It is, according to the standings and everything of that nature, them both being inside the AFC East. What do you need to see here? And what does your gut say? Because, again, Robert Saleh got his teeth kicked down his throat. The Patriots dropped 54. They threw Brian Hoyer in there. He started throwing around the ball. Like, I have to imagine this game has to be circled on the schedule. And when Robert Saleh made that passionate speech, which we'll reshare this week on Twitter, about ending this drought in the AFC East, which they have, but again, still against New England and everything else, like, what are you hoping to see, and what does your gut say? Because I saw a lot of comments throughout this entire show, and I know I didn't bring you guys all on the show. It said, let's be real, the Patriots are going to kick our ass. I'm just reading a couple of these here. The Patriots are going to kick our ass. Let's be honest, this is going to be a blowout. I'm not getting my hopes up for this one. These are just random people inside the chat that I'm just randomly bringing up here. Like, what do you expect to happen on Sunday?
I expect the Jets to try to run the football. I expect the Jets to play really tough defense to get after whoever's playing quarterback. I expect them to be good on special teams, and I expect the Jets to find as many ways as they can creatively possibly imagine to get Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, and Braxton Berrios to football.
How nervous are you for this game?
Oh, I'm very nervous. I'm not nervous because I'm trying to phrase this the right way. I'm not nervous about the Jets playing well. I'm nervous because the Patriots have been they cannot figure out how to play. They haven't even played them competitively, frankly, in a really long time. I'm nervous because this game has now so much pressure, and it already has all the built-in excuses of, see, this is what happens. We have something nice, and it collapses. The season hasn't gone that way. Every time they've gotten bad news, they've
responded.
They've responded, and everyone's gone on IR. It feels like Zach stuff happens. They respond. Fant, Becton, Dwayne Brown at one point, Breece Hall, obviously. I mean, I'm sure there's more people that I'm missing here, but the Elijah news, one of their best players requests a trade on Thursday, and they go to Denver, a place they've not rarely ever won and win. Mm-hmm. So came at a cost, obviously, as we know. But I'm nervous for it. I think, again, I'm excited though. I'm excited to see what this team's made of. I'm excited to see what Zach can respond and answer a call here. Does he need to be a hero? No. But does he need to be better? Absolutely. And, let's see what the Jets can do. But I think they need to fully expect to win. And people should be leaving MetLife or leaving their couch or whatever on Sunday thinking there's no reason we can't be 6-2 as much as it's a difficult football game.
Well, have you ever considered a future career? Again, this seems to be going well for you, but have you considered a career, the people that go to sleep, they play someone kind of like talking to them as they go to sleep?
I should do that.
Yeah, because not like in a way that like you're boring, but like in a way that it's so soothing. We're getting this from James Jameson here. He could listen to you for hours that Will Parkinson, nice warm, tingly feeling in the stomach. Have you ever considered a potential
I may
career
do some
change or
research
extra
on that.
opportunities?
I may
Yeah,
do
please
some
do.
research. I should do some research on that tonight and see
Yeah,
see what it pays.
Explore that. And Will, I saw that you said it today that you probably didn't want to post that TOJ pod episode today, considering all the injury bombs that drop. But give us the schedule of events so everyone can dive in. Because again, you are the handsome host of the TOJ podcast. So what is on the docket for this week? You had some great Benjamin Albright last week. All kinds of spectacular guests. What do you got?
Yeah, so I'll have one coming out later tonight or early tomorrow morning, kind of recapping Sunday, just some of the injuries, what they do, some of what we discussed. Sam Monsono, I know he's been on your show, will be on later in the week.
Great.
And then try to figure out one or two things for maybe a Saturday or Sunday drop for a third episode this week. May dip the pen in an article this week, so we'll see.
Ooh, for Badlands?
Yeah, for Badlands, a little drop there. So a lot going on. Again, obviously check out, their stuff, but Turn on the Jets podcast, everyone knows where to find me. Hit subscribe. We gave away some Zach Wilson is good t-shirts.
Nice.
We'll be giving away. So doing a lot of fun stuff, and I always appreciate you having me on.
Of course. Again, follow Will on Twitter. I'm going to have to I have to search it to make sure. I don't want to give an inaccurate number. I don't want to throw any beef or diss on the Will Parkinson brand. Okay, we're at 11.1 thousand followers, but I better take a picture because it's constantly in flux. There is constantly new followers.
We were at 10K last week or whatever it was. It's
boom.
I guess everyone says I hate the PFF grades, but every time I tweet them, people seem to get very worked up.
I was about to say, that is great job by you because, again, what you want is polarizing tweets. You either want people to love them or hate them. Hate them so much you're like, I hate these PFF tweets. Let me quote tweet about it. Engagement. So you're doing a spectacular job of getting those up and other great content, of course. Again, at Will Pa 11. Will, thanks again for joining us as always, and we'll check in next week, and we could be talking
Hopefully
about
have better news.
Yeah, hopefully better news. Yeah, this was a bit of a Debbie Downer, but still a victory Monday. Nonetheless, people rev up the engines. And I'll give a shout out. If you guys didn't see it on YouTube, it's also on my Twitter account. Normally been cashing in receipts with videos saying, hey, look at all these people that said stupid things about the Jets. However, today we had a plot twist on a victory Monday. We shared things of Jets, not Jets people, NFL people predicting the Jets would be good. So let's give a shout out to David Carr, the brother of Derek Carr, RG3, Damian, Woody, all those guys we tagged on Twitter. That video is also up on YouTube. How about a round of applause for all the people who believed in the Jets since day friggin' one? I missed a guy. Mel Kiper apparently was on that list too. So all those guys, you know what? Golf clap. There you go. You guys can check out that video as well. Will Parkinson, another true believer. Will, thanks, brother. We'll check in with you next week.
Talk to you next week, man.